Hey there, welcome to the Second Lunch Podcast. We're back. It's a good time to be alive. The Packers are the greatest team on the face of the earth.
5 and 6. Put my hey, run the table, right?
Best 5 and 6 I've ever seen, aside from those 6.
It's
but
it's been a good last 3-0.
It's good football. Rocks right now. The dogs is, the puppies is. Go.
I know.
Go UW.
I'm not going to get this. We're not going to get this up in time, but go Dogs against the Ducks. It's going to be a tough game.
I don't think anybody disagrees with that either. I think that is, though opinionated, the least political thing we've ever said.
Yeah, I don't know what our Oregon spread is.
Plus, I can tell you we have 0 listeners in Oregon right now.
I have the stats.
Yeah, I do have
There might be a straggler in Corvallis. Not a Ducks fan anyway.
We got 6 listens from Portland, and that's weird because Novelli's from... Anyway, we'll figure that out later. Anyway, I was on my way to the Husky game. I went to the Rose Bowl, fuck's sakes, Apple Cup. We're going to the Rose Bowl. Is it the Rose Bowl this year?
Yeah, I don't know what coin flip they chose.
Anywho, I was on my way to the Apple Cup, which may as well have been the Rose Bowl because we beat the Cougs. But I was on my way there, and for starters, I was thinking, why do I like the Huskies? They fucking robbed me. They took all my money for an education, and they keep asking for it. It's like it's like Bonnie and Clyde fucking you over and being like, they fucking rock, though. I am all about Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, well, Bonnie and Clyde provided a little more entertainment value, and they stole from the man. UW is the man. You know, they'd be stealing my tuition money back, giving me the bird, but I'd take it. No, I know that's one of the most egregious things is when you get a phone call like, "Hey, you want to donate some money to whatever jack-off new hall that we already have funded?"
Hey, remember when I gave you several grand and you still made me pay for parking? Fuck you.
I still owe them money actively. Like, guys, I'm actually giving you money as we speak. And don't tell me about, like, the math of the loans and who actually owns it. No.
Okay.
I am giving them money.
Cool, but listen, hold Michael Penix.
Pretty sweet.
Pretty cool.
Lefty quarterback.
Pretty cool.
Washington is 9.5-point underdogs.
See,
yes, Washington is 9.5-point underdogs.
I had seen 9, so I don't know if that was just difference in lines or if people saw the 9 and actually were like, yeah, I'll take that. Give me that money on Oregon, and it moved another half point because I wouldn't blame them. I mean, it's been a dicey few weeks, but won the first game.
Yeah, I mean, Oregon's looked good lately. Obviously, dude, I saw man with the most single-letter economy in one name I've ever seen. Bo Nix is completing passes at like 80% right now.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's very efficient. If that was his name, he would only be missing the letter X. He'd still have four of his letters.
Bill Nye. But anyway, I was on my way to the Husky game, and of course, leaving Lake Stevens, a big old lifted truck comes up behind me. Mm-hmm. Anytime I see a lifted truck, it could be in China. I'd be like, "Oh, Lake Stevens?" From I swear they are made there.
So you're armed.
Yeah, and I've never understood. It's for starters. I feel like 90% of the people who tailgate you are in lifted trucks or lifted something.
Well, yeah, they know if something goes wrong, they're not going to die. Me and my 2011 Ford Focus, even with all my road rage.
If something goes wrong, a lot of things are still going to go wrong for that because all that's going to happen is going to fuck up their undercarriage really bad, and their suspension is going to get... It makes no sense. Your vehicle's not actually bigger. It's just optically bigger. It's like what they tell you to do when you see a grizzly bear. Get as big as you can.
Yeah, you have to be bigger than the bear. Right?
Yeah.
Get your parachute pants. Yeah.
Which is also funny that a bear doesn't do any other sizing up than fuck that's tall. Like, he would be... If Shaq got in there or Yao Ming got in there and put his hands up, he'd be like... I'm out of here.
That also is kind of an indicator of how much a bear fucks everything up, though, where he sees that and he's like, get out of here. Like, I'm not even playing ball. I'm just going to kill the thing like 10 yards away. It's fine. I don't need this noise. Yeah, the lifted truck, I'm always certain that I'm going to die. And you're giving these folks too much credit for the forethought to be like, oh, what will this do to my insurance premiums? Yeah, this is not the thought.
I've just never understood why do you need it to be higher in the air?
It's well.
You're
I mean,
also more likely to tip
if you're doing, some certain off-roading stuff, or
right.
God knows. But
that's a good point.
But I also, I say this as somebody that used to.
I will assure you, based solely on the size of the rims on this thing, this was not doing any off-roading.
Well, that's the irony. Is I knew you were going to say like, I would see massive trucks at my job, before COVID times in Symetra, in Bellevue, and. And you'd see like an F-350 down there every day. So I knew it was somebody that worked in the building. And it's just like, I mean, hey, some folks need trucks. I don't know if you do. And the thing was way too nice for it to have even, for me to have the indication like, oh, you're doing a bunch of shit on weekends. You're doing like house renovation, like whatever the fuck. Like, no, you're pushing pencils with me.
Right.
You're
And if
just
you were
driving
renovating your house, you're just fucking up your rotator cuff having to lift everything up into that bed.
Yeah. Try the Focus out. I can get anything on the roof. Easy peasy. I don't know what the
How
towing
much rope do you have?
Don't know what the towing capacity is. Let's see what the bumper can hold. Should we move into Tinderella,
Let's
Chris?
do it.
And as I'm pulling that up, I was thinking, I got to stop listening to NPR on the way here. It gets me in the wrong headspace for this. It's hard to transition off of,
I listen to emo music usually on the way. It just really gets the blood
My
flowing.
Chemical Romance would have done better than, Israel Palestine. I think I would have still been in a better headspace. All right, on to the Tinderella questions. How long do you let your windshield be cracked before you fix it? This is an interesting question on its face because what's your sample size? Right?
How many windshields we talking? I am at least 5 windshields in my life, which, if I'm doing the math correctly, is like once
Every 3 years or so. Yeah.
I want you to answer first because I feel like your answer's going to be different than mine.
So I am definitely, my car. It's worth about $3,000 like on a good Blue Book value day. So I will let it ride. But when Ashley and I were house shopping, I remember this is what we were doing because I was like, now we better find a house because now there's been a casualty because I got a crack in my windshield and it was one where, the chip was right at the edge where it's like, oh, that's actually a compromised windshield now.
Yeah.
This isn't just a crack running across. Like this whole thing is just going to keep getting worse and worse.
Imagine being obligated to buy a home because you cracked the windshield on your $3,000 car.
That is what we call sunk cost fallacy, right? That's where you go, oh, now I have to buy a $250,000 whatever home. I got to get this big loan from the bank because of a $200 windshield.
Yeah, throw $200 into that loan too because you're going to need a windshield as well.
So what is your answer? Do you let, I will say the answer is years if it's not actually going to let my windshield fall apart.
Mine is pretty much the same. Like, unless it is like all the way across or all the way up and down. This is why I asked, because I had what was a little crack on my windshield forever. And because I drive a Bronco, the windshield stands a little more upright. It's not at the same like tilted angle.
Mine's at a low sloping.
Mine's closer to 90. Yours is closer to 45.
Yeah.
So they get cracked a lot, and I was just like, I'm not going to replace a windshield every 10 months.
Oh yeah,
so I got a little one, and then as it started getting cold, I noticed it started growing, and it went from being like 2 inches just straight up and down. It took a fat like 90-degree turn in the middle and just went all the way sideways. I was like, whoa, all right.
Kind of a fun science experiment.
I think I need to replace this now. Why does cold mean sideways, though?
Yeah.
Because heat rises?
Where are the Mythbusters? My folks that live in Alaska, because you can get a ticket for it, obviously, and if there's some bored troopers, you might get a ticket. So that had happened to my aunt.
I thought you were understaffed.
Yeah. Exactly. How can you see my windshield? I feel like you're just making stuff up and seeing what you can hit. But, my aunt had her windshield cracked, got a ticket, and it was like, okay, I'll replace it. Cracked like 2 days later, and she's like, fuck it. The price is just less to, if this
I'm
is
just
the
going to
rate.
bring my receipt with me because I'll prove that I replaced it. But at this point, the ticket's cheaper than another windshield.
Yeah, how often am I expected to do this? On the transportation topic, Chris, do you get weirded out crossing bridges or going through tunnels?
Big time. Every single time I'm in a tunnel, I am picturing it caving in on me. Like my life hangs in the balance. You know what I mean? Bridges too are the worst. They freak me out, dude. I can't look side to like I have to really focus on the road.
Yeah.
When I'm on, and then even when I get to the end, I like get the fucking chills. Like I have to like shake out the bad energy. I don't know where shiver me timbers came from or what it actually means, but believe me crossing a bridge makes my timbers really shiver.
It's got to do something with like being up at heights, being up on a tree. You're up at heights. I mean, it makes sense.
I don't like heights. Yeah. And then I'm always like, well, if this thing falls in the water, I'm dead. I'm not going to get out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just wait until you get that little bubble in the. Oh, I'm actively sinking. I'm just gonna wait in my. No, I'm already hyperventilating.
I can't even survive water levels on Super Nintendo. You think I'm going to be finding fucking air bubbles in the bottom? No, it's not happening. Yeah, I have a very contradictory, or maybe that's not the right, paradoxical sort of view on it, because I don't trust human beings and I think everything generally sucks. But I have a lot of trust in like modern engineering. So, like, for whatever reason, I'm just like, yeah, this tunnel's fine. Even though I'm on Wikipedia reading about a disaster every like 8 fucking minutes or so. Oh, this train, whatever it is. You name an item or a place, there's some disaster that happened there. And yet, I'm always thinking, it's not going to happen to me.
Have you ever been under a bridge?
I mean, yeah.
It's not as sturdy as you'd think it would. Overpass? Trust an overpass. It's a lot of concrete.
Yeah.
But like just hearing the underside of a bridge, fuck that. Fuck that.
Well, I mean, it's been a little while, but walked onto the Ballard Bridge plenty and the Fremont Troll. And yeah, I mean, not my favorite place to hang out.
Under
That
bridges?
gives me the heebie-jeebies for other reasons. All right, next question. If you won the lottery, would you conceal your identity when claiming the winnings?
I would want everybody to know how smart I was for winning the lottery. I would want the world to know. And I would go on the stupidest televised spending spree. I would pay to have it televised.
Yeah, you're buying some supermarket spree.
I want everybody to know that I won the lottery.
I like that you're taking this as like, I'm a genius for buying a lottery ticket. Like,
figured it
you're gonna
out.
point in people's face like it's Dumb and Dumber and the guy's dying because he just ate a hot pepper. Yeah, that's, I would definitely go completely. I mean, I'm using a pseudonym for this show. I'm definitely not letting people harangue me for
You're
money.
going to show up in a Scream mask?
Yeah. Now, if you win, like, the state lottery, that's a couple mil. Definitely a lot of money, but it's like, how much can I really dole out to folks? Whereas if you win, like, the ridiculous Mega Millions, it's like, I'm kicking down a lot of money right away, and then nobody can ever ask me for...
I'm going to pay you $40 million to fuck off.
It's... Exactly. Leave me alone. I mean, if there's like a terminal illness, let me know. But other than that...
Otherwise, don't call. You're not
we'll
invited.
hang out. I'll pay for lunch. You'll get a good Christmas present. But yeah, no, I'm keeping that shit anonymous for sure.
All right, I'll do the last question because I thought of this while I was shaving my head earlier. Is your forehead part of your face?
Depends on who you are.
I was thinking the same thing because my answer is no, it's not. Your face isn't here. It's this box. It's all the features, right? But I was also thinking if somebody was a suspect, like if say I was a suspect for somebody and somebody saw me, I don't know, kick over an old lady, whatever I did, and
the shit out of her.
Like,
They've got some. They got
can
the
you
artist
describe
on
this man? They would mention my forehead, and at that point, it's going to be in like the drawing that they do of my face.
That's true. That's true. See, this is where perception is key, and maybe circumstances are a big part of it. Because yeah, then it's part of your face. But no, I think some folks, they got the smushed in face. They got a small, it's all part of the same package.
Yeah.
And there's some folks that it's like more of a Pac-Man vibe, where it's half the face is forehead.
Yeah,
but
yeah, it looks like it slid down it. It's like Peyton Manning kind of looks like a thumb. And his face just slid down from being in the middle to like the bottom of it.
Exactly. It just got shifted down. Somebody was cropping it. It's like when you're putting your jersey emblem on a create a team. You're like, oh, fuck, I can tell this is like arena football shit. I can tell that logo's like 3 inches underneath where it's supposed to be.
I also can't tell where my forehead ends now, especially because it used to be my hairline. But if we're going by hairline now, then my forehead ends at my back.
It's amazing that your face is now 90% forehead. It's actually a miracle of modern science.
And 3% neck.
That's fantastic. All right. Sorry, I'm fucking up here. All right.
I feel like this is one of my subjects.
It is. It's a
just tell me
turn
what
of
it is.
phrase. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse.
I remember growing up, like people would say that. I don't know. It's a weird, what do they call them, idioms? So I never understood it, but I was always like, oh yeah, you want to eat a lot. But I'm starting to think whoever said that first just wanted to eat a horse.
Like not necessarily an entire horse, but just horse. Like, you want to try.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I'm so hungry, I could eat a horse.
Just go to Europe. Yeah.
Anybody
Any takers?
That would be weirder.
This is how the Donner Party started. It was just,
I'm so hungry, I could eat Jeff. Huh?
am I right?
Joe, sorry, I didn't even mean to make it Jeff Donner. Real close. Jeff Dahmer, Donner. I think we've made that connection before.
Yeah, one of those things that's just in God's will. It is interesting because it's not something that you would ever fucking eat, and so like you could say a cow, but maybe that's the point. In America, it's illegal to eat horse. So
really,
in America, it is. Well, it's not legal to.
What if we ran out of cows?
I'm sure rules would change and heads would roll, but rules would change.
Okay, so we can make glue out of horses, but we cannot make food out of horses.
Yeah, I think dead horse versus like raising as livestock.
Okay, so the horse is already dead.
Yeah, exactly. That's fair game. But once you start taking a live horse and making it dead, can't have it. But in Europe, it's legal. And
of course, everything's legal in Europe. Crazy people over there in Europe.
The whole continent, everything. Like they have a monolith of rules. They're just operating under Hammurabi's code. They don't even have new laws over there. Have you been to Ireland? Have you been to England? Those castle people are definitely operating under some 1,000-year-old.
The only rules they have there are eat shitty food.
Yeah, exactly. And have the last legal thing you're aware of be the Magna Carta. All right.
Are we moving on to headlines now?
I think so. I think it's headline time.
All right. This is my favorite segment that we do. I like to make sure that our literally dozens of listeners are educated.
Dozens, nay, maybe 100.
Maybe 100 dozens. Someday.
You're counting too much. Too much.
I like to make sure they're educated. I don't think anybody should bury their head under a rock. We need to know what's going on in the world.
That's what the show's about, educating.
So in that vein, scientists, this one's about science. Scientists discover a full ejaculation in deep space might not be possible.
Okay, how did they test that?
I know. I like that they're like, all right, we're going to send you to space. We're going to work on some stuff. I also love anytime the scientists are studying.
Somebody just wanted to come in the zero gravity machine.
Exactly. Where would it go?
Yeah.
Would it just go on forever?
Somebody got
come further than you did.
Somebody got a Brazzers trial and has to show everybody what they got.
I like they're like, all right, get up there and just kind of see if
can I get a magazine? Please. Can I get something to work with like I'm donating sperm? The amazing thing about this is for all of our sex conversations, this is probably the first one that actually has some scientific merit, right? Because the idea of figuring this out is to find out whether or not people
we haven't talked about if squirts are pee.
And the value of that scientifically too. What if they aren't?
Also, the answer's not very scientific.
What if they are? The possibilities. It's pee. Or if the answer is it's not like we're like gobsmacked. What could it be?
Is it blood then? What else?
Jump into blood. God, I hope not.
Be the first person to find clear blood.
There's going to be one listener that understands that black sheep reference. But it is a legitimate, thing to try to find out, because if we were ever going to colonize another planet or whatever, or try to set up a colony on the moon, in theory, you got to have the ability to make people. And if you can't...
I like that idea, though, because many times I've said we need to send some person to the moon, and every time I've said that, it hasn't really been positive. So the fact that they're on the moon, and they're out of my way, and they can't reproduce is perfect.
Yeah, and that there was somebody in the room that said, wait a minute, what about the cum? There had to be the first...
And then somebody else was like, nah, dude, I tried.
Yeah, there's always got to be the first guy to ask the question, right?
What about the cum?
Yeah. Not to mention, having a child in utero that's floating
where
around
was
in
that
zero.
on the list of questions.
What about the cum?
Yeah.
Where's that on?
Logistically, like, how do we make this? Can we build things? What about oxygen?
Yeah.
What about coming?
Yeah, who's volunteering for that? That's how you out a weirdo at work really quick. I'll be the cum guy. We know.
I'll be the cum guy.
We bet you will.
There's the title. I'll be the cum guy.
Okay, Daryl. Take 5.
Cop guilty of pulling a gun on his coworker who threatened to spoil Top Gun Maverick.
Well, that is a rude thing to do.
Yeah, if I don't know what are guns for, if not for that.
Yeah, I mean, is the guy okay? So,
Spoiler alert, pistol alert.
well, here's the thing: so usually when something gets spoiled for you, you don't have the opportunity to object or whatever. Somebody's like, "Oh yeah," and then Vader's Luke's dad, and you're like, "The fuck, man," and that's you have no opportunity. But in this case, it sounds like this guy was like, "I'll fucking spoil it, man," and I will shoot you.
Well,
I will shoot you to death.
at this point, this is actually a recent one.
Yeah, it has to be, right? Top Gun Maverick, that's only a few months old.
If you haven't seen it by now, you don't really want to see it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, and
Spoil
I don't
it.
want to see it.
Yeah.
Go nuts. Yeah,
Spoil that
Goose is dead still?
Whoa, no.
Would be wild if they allowed Reanimation to enter that franchise of all things. Goose is back! We got necromancers, I guess, in this realm.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard it's a good movie. That is a funny one for that to be like your...
I'm pulling a gun on you.
Yeah. Again, I haven't seen it. Heard it got great reviews. But gun seems serious. This is not Shawshank Redemption,
Does Shaw get shanked? I don't know what happens.
Yeah. Oh, he gets out of the prison in the Prison Break movie.
2 firefighters fired after stopping at Chick-fil-A on the way to an emergency.
Okay, they didn't specify what the emergency was.
All right, and it was on the way.
Yeah. Which says to me it wasn't an emergency. Because if it was an emergency, any journalist worth their sand would be like, erstwhile, 3
This
people
person
burned
still
to
had
death.
a broken ankle.
Yeah. Yeah, what actually happened?
This was not a cardiac arrest.
Yeah, the cat was in the tree for an additional 8 minutes. Not a big deal.
Let them eat. It's on the way.
It's-
They ordered in advance.
It's
Christ. Fired.
I will say that there's a lot of professions I will give no slack to. Firefighter, it's like, okay. I think those boys probably knew.
Right.
I think that those ladies and gents knew the risk. Like, made a
Right.
calculated
Yeah.
decision. So that and bus drivers. People I trust with absolutely anything.
Firefighters and bus drivers.
Oh, yeah. Bus drivers are a pillar of our society. But when they would come into Ken's Market, I'm like, they know what they're doing. They got 2 minutes, dude. They could sneak in here for a sandwich. I would never once think, oh, that bus driver is jeopardizing other people's schedules. I'm like, no, he's got a watch. They're
I
good to
prefer
go.
to think of it that way. Somebody who doesn't care if like 1,000 people are 7 minutes late all day. That's pretty badass.
That is pretty funny, and also it does put into perspective how meaningless and stupid life is, and how 7 minutes is, you don't need to lose your mind over being 7 minutes late. Probably.
Then again, I would be pretty annoyed if I realized I
I'd be
lost
outraged.
7 minutes
I'd be
'cause
outraged.
Somebody couldn't decide on what sandwich to get.
I haven't been late somewhere in like 12 years. If I'm going to be so mad, I'm always somewhere 15 minutes early. That would drive me insane. So it's easy for me to say on this show with a beer in my hand, yeah, be 7 minutes late. Not me, of course. You nerds. Go crazy.
Yeah, it's not my bridge that's going to fall down. This one, this is my favorite because I can kind of see either one of us doing this in an extreme circumstance.
Yeah.
Man stages his own kidnapping to go out drinking with friends.
Right.
Funniest part about this is he didn't like hire a guy that he didn't know to come kidnap him. It was one of his friends.
Oh.
I love that his wife wasn't at any point like, all right.
That's Chris.
Yeah, that guy kind of sounds like Caleb. I get that you're getting kidnapped right now, but that's real close.
Are you sure that she wasn't kind of like happy that he's gone? If you've got a significant other that's staging a kidnapping so they can go get obliterated, aren't you probably happy they're gone for a while?
I think he had to get away from her.
I think that she probably needs to get away from that guy. But that's, may have been a mutual understanding. May have been one of, an unspoken sort of agreement.
Maybe she was going to have him kidnapped the same day. Just guy came in early, like, fuck, you beat mine by 5 minutes. I'm not going to get that deposit back.
Yeah, that hitman's fucking, it's a waste of 5 Gs. Okay, did the story in this case say how long he was drinking for? Because I understand going on a bender, but whatever happened to, like, the Oh,
I'll read you this.
I'll leave
story
in
right
30
now.
minutes, and then you stretch it, and you have another beer and another beer. I would think that turning 30 minutes into 3 hours is a smarter play than staging a kidnapping. But
I'll read it to you, and in just the first sentence, you can tell that these people do not agree with what this man did.
well, that's judgmental. What happened to objective journalism?
A man faked his own kidnapping in front of his terrified wife so he could spend the night boozing
terrified.
with pals.
Terrified and boozing. What a loaded phrase.
Right. Rogelio Ondeverde arranged, in quotes, for two masked men to grab him from his home in Edinburgh, Texas. She's horrified now.
Well,
Wife watched as he was dragged at gunpoint.
is she going to be more affied? Is she going to be mortified at some point? How many affides can she
Are
be?
you even afraid of guns in Texas? From the house and driven away. She called cops who they call them cops.
Did he crack a beer while he was in the... they're like pulling out, and she doesn't even wait to get out of frame. Like,
You can. I'm pretty sure I hear them playing Usher. She called cops who launched a hunt for the 34-year-old. Ondeverde's wife spent more than 5 hours with police being interviewed. That's so funny.
5 hours.
He's getting interviewed by
He's
the
getting
cops.
shit-faced. Okay, he really did need to stage a kidnapping.
As police searched for the kidnapped victim, her husband returned home the following day and said his kidnappers just let him go.
At that point, why wouldn't you release like an ISIS hostage video? And I am safe. I have plenty of beer. Just
I'm totally safe. Believe me. Police became suspicious of his story, and he later confessed he made up the story because he wanted a night out with his friends without his wife.
Again, I just feel like you could have lied about some other stuff and not gone the kidnapping route. That just seems like a really extreme
Pretty
escalation.
extreme. Fake a heart attack.
It's you're
Friends.
just gonna downgrade to a little casual death. Oh Lord. Yeah.
Speaking of the cops, though, I was watching. I was doing one of those true crime. I don't know, what do you call it when you sit down and watch binges?
Oh yeah.
I don't really
you're
watch
getting
true
your-
crime, but when I do get into it, it's always like Dr. Phil happens to be on TV while I'm doing something else. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm into this now.
Yeah, I got to see how this.
I love it because it's like any documentary you see. There's always one cop who's been like, it's the worst case I've seen in 30 years. And I'm always like, dude, this isn't even the worst case I've seen in 30 minutes. You got to grow the fuck up. Get out of this small town, dude. This is nothing compared to the shit I've seen today.
I like that you're comparing this person's like real world experience. Like, normally my days in Lubbock, Texas are, not filled with a splayed woman or whatever it is, but you're taking your whole experience with like every investigation discovery fucking program there ever
Hey, I
was.
saw a documentary about a guy who killed his whole family.
I've seen a few of those.
Whole family. It wasn't just one dude, okay?
Yeah, John
Whole
List.
family.
John List's taking out like 8 people. What's another one?
Yeah, so I'm already a better cop than this guy. Sorry, the cops, if you're listening. Just JK.
I'm sure that they'll be very appreciative of that.
Cops aren't listening, but the man is.
Okay, here we go. I think it's time for a Mike story. Quick one here.
Speaking of the cops.
Yeah. And this will transition into the next one pretty well, too. I don't know. I wonder if Mike will be mad about this story, but at one point...
This is the one he would be mad about? At all of them?
Maybe. Whatever. We'll find out. If the show gets big, we'll find out. He was being a real dingus at one point, doing drugs, being an asshole, and he was working in Hawaii, and Clay and I were like, okay, we're going to fly you back, old man. We're going to try to dry you out. Mind you, this did not work, but we will not get into how this did not work at this time. So we flew him back, and he was just a pile of shit and an asshole for a week. Just a menace. Like, talking a lot of trash, but going through withdrawals to extreme from opiates to even get off the couch. It's like, we can kill you right now, old man. You keep talking trash. You keep heckling me. But what we
It
did...
sounds so crazy. You're just... Somebody's helping you and you're treating them really poorly.
I
Who
mean,
is this guy?
this is addiction. This
The
is
worst shit I've seen in 30 years.
This is this guy's a real asshole. But what we didn't know, because we had to obviously fly him back, and this guy can barely move, and so it's curious like how he got through the airport. How did you physically get from point A to point B? Did you do a hot shot like right before the flight or something? Like have enough? What we found out years later, because Mike has what I would call a mental, moral statute of limitations. There's a sort of idea in his mind of when it's appropriate to share some fucked up thing he did. It's about 3 years. Is the statute of
You
limitations.
can't be mad at me now. This was 3 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. It's been 1,000 days. My moral compass.
Burned the house down.
Yeah, exactly. They're looking for you still. You're not allowed in that county anymore. Yeah. But what we found out later was so he was definitely going through withdrawals tough on the flight.
I can't think of a worse place to have to do that.
Yeah.
Between two fat guys on an airplane. Christ.
Well, you're not between anybody if you lock yourself in the shitter for 7 hours. These people are pounding on the door thinking he's like dead. And he's like, I can't come out. And they're like, you have to come out. They're not thinking that he's in a medical situation. Like, if you don't need help, you need to leave. They're just mad at him. They are strictly mad at him, which is fair. If they knew the whole story, they would still be mad
I
at
can't even
him.
imagine being on this flight. That would be so chaotic.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because all you need is one other guy with, like, pants shitting sickness to be basically out of toilets. I mean, no, Mike has brought these people extremely close to chaos.
Oh, God.
And you know that smelled like innards and death, like a slaughterhouse. Just absolutely horrific.
Right. Oh, God.
Yeah, because he would have been, like, white-knuckling the toilet seat as he tries not to lift off the ground with how hard he was shitting into that airplane turlet.
Oh, dude. I don't like public poops, but I will do anything in my power to avoid using the bathroom on an airplane.
I understand you don't like public poops, but how do you feel about a public poop where the stewardesses, or stewardi, is it like octopi? Where the flight attendants are pounding on the door and people are like loudly aware that you have upset.
I never in my life have wanted a female human being to be aware that I'm shitting. So that sounds like absolute worst case scenario to me.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd rather die.
I think probably going through heroin withdrawals is maybe slightly worse than that detail, but it doesn't make it any better.
No,
it does not make
not.
it any easier to deal with.
Well, he had to come out at some point. Obviously, he came out.
Yeah.
How did that go?
Oh, I mean, what would you do? I've been mortified by so much less than that. Like, unable to look somebody in the eye after the great shame that I've caused.
What did they say? I would have at least, even just as somebody sitting like within 3 rows of the bathroom, been like, dude.
Well, I would have definitely been curious what the guy looked like that came out, because he disappeared in there so early in the flight.
How fat is he? 250 over under.
Yeah, is he a 90-year-old invalid? Is he going to come out with a colostomy bag? Like, what is happening here?
Is he going to be blue because he was playing with the stuff in the toilet? Oh my God, it's a Smurf.
How is it only above your shoulders?
It's
How
as
is
far
it
as I
only?
could go.
It's
I wanted to see if it really came out. Into the
you
sky.
do a little handstand push-up over the toilet.
Whoops, daisy.
Yeah. So yeah, and then we got him back, and yeah, he was a real shitbag. But I don't know what the lesson here is. Don't
do heroin. I think is the lesson.
No, if you're gonna
do heroin,
you want to keister enough on the flight so that you're gonna be good. It's like Train Spotting, when he's got the suppositories. Plug a couple up there until you land in Seattle, where we got plenty of heroin that you can, you can get sorted out real quick.
There's an abundance.
Yeah, I could probably sort you out by my work.
Speaking of shitting, I mean, natural transition here.
Yeah, this is a Cole episode right here. Going real. Yeah.
One of the things I hate most, especially about public bathrooms, but really any, is when you go in and somebody is clearly in there before you, and they tried to cover up the smell, like with Febreze or something, as if I think like Hula berry breeze just smells a little bit like it's downwind from a farm.
Yeah, I think it really depends also on who what type of person it is. Like, I think,
what their diet is.
yeah, I think probably, you know,
My point is
my
Febreze doesn't
my
actually-
brother, your wife, probably Febreze goes a long way. The type of things I do in the bathroom are criminal.
You do in the bathroom.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Knife to a gunfight, buddy. Truly, you are outmatched here.
I don't get it. Febreze, like, it doesn't smell like Hula Berry Breeze. It smells like lies because it is not covering...
What's a hula berry?
Right, exactly.
It's like a schnozberry.
That's an actual, I was going to say flavor, scent.
Flavor's the right, it's...
You don't drink those?
It's, yeah, hula
You're
berries.
supposed to drink it and then go.
Yeah. No, you're only supposed to, you know...
I'm kidding. You shove it up your butt.
It's like rhubarb. You only eat the stalk, not the leaf. Anyways. That was stupid.
That was stupid. Not everything we've ever said into these microphones.
We're going to... Gucci or greasy, Christmas decorations before Thanksgiving.
I'm almost positive we're going to disagree on this.
Probably.
I'm a big no on that. That is absolutely greasy. Putting, like, relax. Just let Thanksgiving be Thanksgiving. Everybody's... All of those pilgrims who died for us.
When Plymouth Rock landed on them, I'm pretty sure that's how the story went.
Tell me, are the pilgrims dead? Okay? They died so we could murder turkeys en masse, and you need to celebrate that fucking holiday. Everybody's just trying to move past Thanksgiving.
Yeah, people try to jump the gun. People start the Christmas shit, and I love Christmas. I truly
Same.
love it. But they try to start this shit at Halloween, and it's like, well, I love Halloween too. It's spooky season. Get your joyous shit out of here.
People are doing that too. They're trying to start fucking Halloween at the beginning of September.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand. The one thing about Halloween is like the fall holiday that I think of. I know Thanksgiving's in there, but Halloween is like the kids are back in school. You know, summer's over. So I can understand.
We need to make another fall holiday.
No, not necessarily. I'm just saying I can understand where people sort of lump in like the September, the leaves are getting crinkly brown with like, let's get some pumpkins, let's get some spooky movies. You know, I could see where it happens. Although for me, yeah, October's when it starts. And ultimately, I do agree with you. Wait for the day after. Just wait for the day after.
Exactly. The day after should be National Put Up Your Christmas Decoration Day.
Yeah.
Not Black Friday.
Yeah, is Black Friday even still the same? I don't even think there's going to be much comedy here, but I'm curious. Is Black Friday still the same
Are people
shopping
still getting
experience?
trampled?
I mean, basically, yeah, that's my question. Cause,
I don't know. I'm too fat for all my Huskies gear from college now, and I was going to the Apple Cup, and I was like, shit, I should just shoot over to Kohl's, not your house, Kohl's, the store.
Yeah.
And see if I can find a sweatshirt. And realized it was Black Friday. I was like, I'm just going to wear a Packer sweatshirt and take the heat.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deal with
Fair
that.
enough. But like with the internet and such, like, is it still the same as it was like trying to grab a Tickle Me Elmo in the 90s? I can't
I
imagine
don't
that's
think
the
there's
same
ever
thing.
going to be anything like that again.
That's fair. But yeah,
Imagine dying
that might have been
on an FAO Schwartz floor reaching for a Tickle Me Elmo. Oh, God, that's grim.
Naming the specifics there really drove that joke home, Chris. I was a big fan of that one.
Oh, imagine dying. That, like, I can't think of many sadder ways to die.
Yeah, as you hear your own death rattle in a TJ Maxx. Like, oh, my Lord.
Elmo does not sound tickled right now.
Yeah, that's it is. I mean, almost all the things I think too that I associate with getting trampled. It's never just like a TV sale. It's always like a
Running of the
fad thing.
Bulls.
Yeah, Furby's coming out. Yeah,
Furby's coming out.
it's always something in the 90s.
Did you ever have a Furby?
Yeah, we did. See, the thing is,
Did
shout
you
out
hate
to
it?
my folks. Yeah, I did. Oh, okay. I will say my folks always were able to get like the Tickle Me Elmo, the Furby. I think my mom just really wanted to have those things, and so yeah, we'll say it's for the kids.
Do you think Mike stole them?
But-
Because that would be way cooler.
It would be, but now like a Jingle All the Way.
Yeah,
thing.
I was thinking exactly that.
Yeah. No, I think no. Mike has a whole thing with theft. He's not a thief. He's not a thief. But
I like he draws the line somewhere.
yeah, no. There's some sort of like harm to other people, and you know, I don't know moral compass really looks like, other than its magnetic north is just spinning.
I like that. Hey, I'm fucking up my life. Nobody else's. Maybe my kids. Maybe my kids.
Maybe the car you're driving intoxicated careens into somebody else. But except for that. Shit, what were we talking about?
Dying at FAO
yeah,
Schwartz.
yes, exactly. Croaking because you were trying to get a Cabbage Patch Kid. Yeah, that's... I mean, I haven't gone out in so long. Ashley got us a TV a few years ago, but it was one of those where she like waltzed out at like 11:30. It wasn't like I'm rushing out on Black Friday.
Yeah, I'm going to be first in line.
Yeah, I'm going to go there at some point and buy a TV today.
I think we were talking about Furbies.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Did I hate them? Yes, you asked that. Sorry. I only hated it when I realized that it wakes up in the middle of the night hauntingly, as though possessed by something from fucking Poltergeist. And
it's Poltergeist.
It's exactly Poltergeist.
Poltergeist.
Plural. Ghost Ed Gein. This is terrible.
Came back as a tiny bird.
This is horrific. Such a strange joke. Yeah, that thing would just wake up in the middle of the fucking... We had to, like, pull the goddamn batteries out of that thing. Because it's not really a toy, just like Tickle Me Elmo isn't. You can't do... I mean, yeah, imagination, sure, but it basically has a button and it makes noise. It's not... You know, there's no missile launcher. What are you going to do with this thing? Other than have it wake up in the middle of the fucking night.
Can you imagine having to be the guy who made the commercials for these things to make them look appealing to children?
Mm-hmm. And you're competing with real toys. Have you seen Nerf guns lately? Kids these days.
Holy shit, dude. I saw this transformer. So it holds your Hot Wheels, and then it turns into a dinosaur that's also a ramp to launch your Hot Wheels off of. This is what happens when I play SpongeBob.
Classic ramp
I
dinosaur.
end up wanting children's toys.
Oh, yeah. Well, they start pumping you with the ads, too. That's the thing.
It's getting worse this time of year, too. All the cool toys are coming out.
I know. All I get is toy and diamond ads. It's like, I don't even have a kid, but I do keep looking at these Nerf guns. So I understand why the advertisers are thinking.
I never got a remote control airplane, no matter how much I asked.
Yeah. That's one of the things that's high up on my want list that I've told Ashley about a few times. I was like, someday I'm buying a fancy RC car. I'm buying a I'm dropping a few $100 and I'm tearing ass around the neighborhood.
We'll talk about this later because
let's take this off the record.
Same boat. I found a really cool like vintage Ford Bronco one. It's real big. It's big too. It's like a couple feet.
Oh, nice.
And you can like off-road with it. So I'm basically just getting a shovel and building lumps in my backyard,
risking
to launch
dying.
my $500 remote control Bronco off of.
When I was a kid, my dad had a few remote control cars that were actually gasoline powered. Like it had
Whoa.
a full-blown miniature combustion engine.
Wow, that's a really, really cool way to contribute to global warming.
Oh,
That's the cutest global warming story I've ever heard.
Also, if you want to know how people actually, you want to know how people actually spend drug money frivolously, it's on like that and fishing equipment. We're gonna apply Mike to everybody. Everybody selling drugs is buying a lot of fishing gear,
so he can get on the boat and do more drugs with the captain.
How else is he gonna catch a sturgeon?
And then fuck up his shoulder.
God damn it. I just got a text from Ashley saying, I forgot this fat fuck McCarthy is the coach of the Cowboys. Forgot to turn off airplane mode, but that's a funny way to be reminded.
I'm in the same boat. God, Mike McCarthy, I've always said he's got such an advantage having wonky eyes. He can look at two menus at the same time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's getting that Applebee's all you can app.
I used to think he was a genius, and I really think the Seahawks actually broke his brain because I thought he was a great coach until the game we don't want to talk about. And then after that,
he was pretty good. He
got
really conservative.
He played scared after that, which is funny because that's why we lost that game is because he was playing scared.
And then Aaron also progressively, and I know he won some MVPs because his TD to interception ratio is always, but I think he got broken by that game in some small way.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron airing it out really changed into
I don't
Aaron,
know this for sure, but I would bet, and part of it's him declining and getting older, but I would bet his yards per attempt
that'd be an interesting stat to look at.
way down after that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
never forget the game where he didn't throw to the left side of the field. Never forget.
Well, it's a Seahawks game. Do you remember all the stuff that happened after McCarthy got fired?
I remember you calling me when we weren't even back to our hotel in Grafton. Or do you mean more later than that?
A little bit later.
Okay.
A couple weeks later, he stayed in Wisconsin. And he was.
Didn't he lose his mind at like a Little League game?
He went to his stepson's basketball game and started berating a ref to the point he had to be ejected, and he's no longer allowed at basketball games in that county anymore.
How long does that ban last? So I know.
Did you pull it up? Did you find it, Jake?
I know when Ozzy peed on the Alamo, it was 10 years. And I generally use that as a measuring stick.
Wisconsinites are pretty. I bet you could squash that with a couple beers.
Like you're banned for 6 weeks.
Yeah, or a 6-pack.
It's. I do want to close the book on Gucci or Greasy. I will ultimately say it's not the greasiest thing to do it before that, but I would lean that way. Just wait till the day after, because I also have I have a few folks in my neighborhood that have some Thanksgiving decorations. They do exist. Big inflatable turkey, you could do it.
Right.
You know, it doesn't have to transition right into the.
If we were having decorations based on the way that we celebrate Thanksgiving, I would just put all my beer cans in the yard.
I mean, that's a pretty good one. When I lived in Briar, we had like $900,000 houses across the street, and we were like the fucking Clampets out there, like the goddamn Beverly Hillbillies. And I distinctly remember one time we were playing knife beer, where you just throw a knife at a beer, and whoever hits it first, the other guy has to drink the beer. And I was pretty sure that the neighbors, that I was driving down their property value in real time, and I felt good. I felt good about that.
You're doing your part to anti-gentrify.
This week in history, we'll close out the show here. This week in history, November 24th, 1971, D.B. Cooper parachutes from a plane with $200,000 and is never seen again. Do you think he survived?
I like this story better if he survives. I love the idea of because who did he really hurt other than giving a couple pilots and a few stewards
some PTSD.
Who did he really hurt? He got some money and he's with Andy Dufresne on a beach somewhere. You know, I like that idea.
Ziwat Nehu.
Yeah, I like that idea. But the fact that they found like the majority of the money washed up at the like near the gorge.
Yeah, they found a good amount, like at least tens of thousands. Yeah,
I'm thinking no. Also, how many people can operate a parachute?
I will say this though: the copycats. You know, the FBI always came out and said they thought he probably died, but the copycats that immediately followed did in some cases succeed.
Copycat. I didn't know that this happened.
There were like 11. They actually created a device, and I cannot remember. It's called, I think,
the DB blooper. So
it's called. They gave it a name based on Cooper. It's called like the Cooper Lane or something. Basically, the ability to drop the flight steps like mid-flight. That was removed as an ability because of DB Cooper, because that's where you would parachute from, like the hole. Not the hole, but descending down the steps, you would jump out of basically like the bottom.
So are any of these other people successful?
Yeah, they did get arrested in like basically every case. Like nobody got away forever, but multiple people did get the money, parachute, not die, go to jail.
Country, what are you doing?
Well, I'm fair.
Tell you what, though, don't put those people in Alcatraz. They'd get out.
Well, that's the other. I mean, that's a good question too. Do you think the Alcatraz people got out and survived? Because I feel very strongly that they made it.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also kind of came out later that the FBI initially claimed, you know, oh, we don't think they could have survived it. And then it turned out later they actually did think they may have survived it. And like various letters had been sent to the family members of, you know, the two brothers whose names are escaping me right now.
Pictures too.
But yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like postcards. Yeah. And nobody ever heard from old Frank again. But
How do we know
he was
one
the
of those
mastermind.
guys wasn't DB Cooper? I couldn't find him because wound up in Alcatraz for something else. No, I think the timeline's way different. But
yeah, it's a little earlier. But, well, it's actually not that much earlier, though. I think those boys escaped in like 62. Cooper, 71.
I would be like, you know what? At this point, I'm playing with house money. I just got out of jail. I'm broke. I'm going to assume an alien.
Let it
get
ride.
on an airplane.
Yeah, let it ride.
I could probably figure out a parachute.
I turned yogurt lids into a shiv once.
Imagine seeing that happen, though. I would be so freaked out if I saw like a jetliner and then some guy just jumping out of the back with a parachute. I'd be like, whoa.
Yeah, that's some shit you're never going to see again.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's a fascinating, I mean, it's tragic, but we're on the topic of fascinating old photo of, people that like planes. They'll just take photos of planes taking off and landing, and somebody got a picture as somebody that was stowing away, like in the landing gear, happened to fall out of the fucking landing gear.
Oh, God.
Yeah. That's a wild, wild moment.
Why would... Yeah. I mean, I guess it's easy for me to say because I live someplace I don't need to worry about it, but why would you think there would be room for you to...
It's... Of the stowaways that have been captured, like, it's like a 75% fatality rate.
Oh, my God.
Or I meant to say stowaways that, like, we're aware of.
Yeah.
And it's likely that the fatality rate's higher because of people, like, dropping out over the ocean where you'd never know that's where they went. But,
God.
Yeah. All right, back to sunnier topics. All right, this is a silly one. November 28th, 1789. Trade between the United States and modern-day Uruguay begins when John Leamy's frigate, named John,
Love it.
arrives in Montevideo. What would you name a boat? Because that's the worst fucking name I've ever heard for a boat. It's the boat named John. So surely you've got something better.
I don't know. I kind of like that. LeBron.
Okay, I'm naming my boat Debrickashaw. I like the idea of naming a boat something that can only mean one guy. Like, surely there's more LeBrons now. Like,
You think there's only one DeBrickashaw out there?
I don't know if he was quite good enough to inspire a generation of folks to name. Because I'm sure you've heard, like, Jalen Rose claims, and there is some, at least a kernel of truth to the idea that the name Jalen exploded after Jalen Rose. And he may have been, like, kind of the first Jalen, certainly the first famous one. It's like, yeah, a person like that gets to a level of prominence, all of a sudden, cool name,
That
blah,
seems
blah,
like
blah.
an actual name, though. Jalen.
Oh, for sure. I mean, LeBron also works. Debrickashaw is pretty out there. That's a why.
That's kind of like the guy I invented the Packers are going to draft next year, Jafuckly Bum Rush.
Jafuckly Bum Rush from fucking Draft Bus University out in Iowa somewhere. Oh my God, this kid really believes in the Seventh-day Adventists. And he does not believe in getting more than 3 sacks a season. What a nightmare. Now, our preferred method is to draft a cornerback and try to convert him to a safety or vice versa. Awesome. Great.
Fuck Demarius Randall, dude. So annoying.
I hate God. He's a bummer. Okay, so you would go with John for the name of your boat? You're going with that?
No, LeBron.
Okay, you're going with LeBron.
Sorry, Jafuckly.
It's all right. I'm going Catino Mobley. Okay, last this week in history, November 28th, 1895. The first American automobile takes place over the 54 miles from Chicago's Jackson Park to Evanston, Illinois. Took approximately 10 hours to go that 54 miles.
Oh my God! Oh
It's a
my
literal.
God!
I can do that math.
How
pretty
many
easy.
times did the car break down?
That's a good question, because they're going 5.4 miles an hour. So if they broke down, that means they were going up at like a crazy 8 miles an hour.
This also reminds me of when we were talking about how people used to get in automobile crashes all the time. How? Your car's going like 10 miles an hour.
Yeah.
How slow are your reactions?
Well, first of all, you're shit-faced. You got no seatbelt, and you got like 9 rugrats in the back, like yanking on your hair and shit. Like, of course.
Or what year did you say this was?
This was 1895. So this is like
Okay.
the first, this is pre Ford,
for whatever reason, my brain
Pre-Model
went to
T.
Prohibition because you were talking about where it was.
right. No, it's about
And-
25 years earlier, but yeah.
I was just thinking, how stressful would it be to be smuggling booze illegally for, how long did you say? 10 hours?
Yeah. Also, how annoying would it be to be that drunk and not even be able to go fast? And also,
Do you feel like you're going faster or slower?
when you're drunk, you're definitely wanting
like
to
you're
go
going-
faster.
Yeah,
you
feel like
slower.
you're going slower. Yeah.
When you're high,
you feel like you're going faster.
Yeah, mile a minute.
Yeah, you're going the fastest 12 miles an hour you've ever gone in your life.
Shit, there was one other goofy thing I was going to try to say about this. Fuck it. It doesn't matter. I'm just wondering what people looked at when they were drunk driving before they had phones.
There wasn't even billboards back then, was there? There wasn't anything going on. There
No.
wasn't a bunch of roads or anything.
Yeah, they're not advertising
Yeah,
wall
is that why
drug
it
to
took
you.
so long? There weren't even fucking roads. They're
Yeah.
all for horses. So
Exactly.
many bumps. How many tires did you go through? It's a fucking NASCAR race.
Later on, in like the 40s, somebody tried to, or a group, it actually included Eisenhower at one point.
I think it's Eisenheimer.
Weisenheimer actually is the.
It's Weisenstein.
It's
It's Weinstein?
Swami.
Hold on.
Samsonite. I was way off. But Eisenhower was involved. It was like a military attempt to drive across America before Eisenhower's, Highway Act. So these folks tried to get from
How do you act like
New
a
York.
highway?
That's
Oh, I hate
God
myself so
damn
much.
it.
I hate my jokes. I'm a dad now, dude. Just ripping. Anyway, acting like
But
highways.
it took them like over a month, and it was a disaster, and that was part of why the Highway Act was enacted, because it was a pain in
Build
the fucking
more
ass.
trains. Build trains that turn. That's
At that point, it was build anything.
build trains that go over mountains.
Yeah, and then that's why the Eisenhower Tunnel is named that. Goes through the mountains, and it was like the final part of the Highway Act. Anyways, this isn't funny. These are just details.
Yeah, we're probably gonna cut this. Fuck, dude.
It's boring
Thinking
as
about
shit.
going through a tunnel. It's bad enough, but doing it in a train,
And it's named Eisenhower. That guy's
especially
dead.
now that I know
That's
that
gotta be haunted.
Amtrak exists. Oof.
A train named John.
That's
Train named Jafuckly going through a tunnel
oh my god.
John.
named John.
He transferred away from Iowa, and we drafted him.
The John Tunnel.
Is that about it? I think we're good.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Cole, why don't you say goodbye? You never do.
All right, I'll say goodbye. It's been a fantastic episode. What is this, episode
Don't look
33?
at me. Look at the people.
I know. I'm confirming with you. It's been a fun one, and we'll see you next time. What do we have? A guest? We have a guest next Monday, right? So we're going to have Alyssa Charlton back on the show for the next episode. So stay tuned, and Bucks and Six,
Bucks and Six. Fucking A.
and go Cardinals 35-year-old roster, 35-year-old pitching rotation. It's not going to go well, Chris. It's not going to go well.
I can get behind the 35-year-old part.
Well, that's why I said that.